Hello, everybody, and we are live for episode 64 of Kayfabe Keaton. And today, on St. Andrew's Day, I have a very special guest coming in just after being absolutely destroyed but putting on a very good fight against Halfdan. Is the Flying Scotsman making his debut at NIPW? So, no better person to get in on St. Andrew's Day. So, let's waste no time. Let's bring him in, the Flying Scotsman. Thanks so much for coming on.
What's happening, wee man? You're welcome. You are most welcome for having me on. How did you enjoy the match?
It was great. You done very well on that match. You went in there with one of the toughest wrestlers NIPW has ever seen, and you put on quite a good fight. So, how was that?
Honestly, I got asked in an interview before, what would you have done differently? Nothing. I mean, it's Halfdan. They said, how did you prepare for this? How did you prepare for Halfdan? How did you prepare for a Viking? You can't. Do you know what I mean? So I just went straight at it, and the man's an animal.
Absolutely. He's destroyed everybody NIPW has ever seen. So even for you to get in a tiny bit of a fight was incredible.
I genuinely do feel, though, if I'd have hit my haggis, neeps, and moonsaults on him, it would have been a different story.
Absolutely. But anyway, what an incredible debut you had for your first ever match. That was pretty incredible. So from seeing that, you can tell that that this has been a dream of yours. So what's your very first memory of pro wrestling in general?
Ever since I was a wee lucha, I have always loved masked wrestlers. I've always all the way back to the La Parca and those in the 90s, the Mexican wrestlers that sort of came into WCW. That blew my mind as a wee lucha, and then I was like, I want to be that. I knew I am.
Yep, you're able to become that. So that's your very first ever memory of wrestling?
Yeah, just my first ever proper memory would just my first memories are just wrestling, just watching wrestling, the classics, Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, the timeline. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's the same as everyone's earliest memories.
And when you talk about there, like in a lot of the Mexican wrestlers, who were your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Mine, obviously, you've got to put the Hot Rod in there because he was Scottish. But I always sort of went. Rob Van Dam was probably my biggest favorite wrestler. But when we're talking mass wrestlers, it would probably be La Parca or Psychosis back in the ECW days.
Two incredible wrestlers, and
yeah.
So who's your Mount Rushmore of Mexican, not Mexican wrestlers, just masked wrestlers in general?
Oh, Mount Rushmore of masked wrestlers. I mean, just for longevity, you've got to have Kane up there. To have had the mask, then lost the mask, then got the mask again. Obviously, Rey Mysterio has to be in there. Then I'd probably veer towards La Parca, and he's not masked, but probably super crazy, like that sort of style. His earlier stuff, with ECW, was insane.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that would be my Mount Rushmore of sort of masked or Mexican style wrestlers.
And when you were watching wrestling, when you were a kid, when was the point, your very first point where you were like, "This is what I want to do. I want to do this."
It's something that I always knew at the back of my mind. I always knew I wanted to be a professional wrestler. It was never going to be a case of if; it was a case of when. And becoming the Flying Scotsman allowed me to just step into a whole new world of lucha, which is a completely different style, and getting into it and learning while you're in it is fantastic as well. There's never been a point that I never thought that I'd be a professional wrestler.
Yeah, and when you got to achieve your dream today, that was obviously quite a big moment. But how did you first discover NIPW?
Honestly, it was the buzz on Facebook and stuff like that. I'd been to a couple of the earlier shows. I'd I'd been in the early days when Tamura came over and stuff. I'd watched then, and yeah, I just watched NIPW grow, and I was like, I want to be part of this. So I made sure that I made every phone call that I could possible, and then yeah, now I'm in Northern Ireland professional wrestling, and it's the home of the Flying Scotsman.
Awesome, and it came on leaps and bounds as well. Like when you first went to that show with Tamura and the Japanese wrestler, that was an incredible show back when it was in NXG. But I think when it's rebranded into Northern Ireland Pro Wrestling, it is turned in like to the professional wrestling standard of wrestling in Northern Ireland. I don't think there's anywhere really that comes close to it. There's great promotions in Northern Irish wrestling, but I'm just saying I don't think there's anywhere that comes close to NIPW. And you would know that because you've got to see it from how it started and how it is now.
Absolutely. And yeah, so obviously, yeah, we were talking with Tamura, that was in the NXG days, and then obviously it became NIPW, and it's become a juggernaut, to be honest. Like, it's just, you either want to be part of it by go and watch it, or watching the boys in the ring, or watching us in the ring, that inspires other people to go, do you know what, I want to give that a shot. And that in itself is incredible.
Absolutely, and you know, would you say that's kind of how you felt when you watched it? You felt inspired by a lot of the guys.
Oh, 100%. I remember watching that Tamura show and saying, one day that will be me on the card. One day I will be a part of a wrestling show. This is going to be my thing. This is who I'm meant to be. I want to do this. And it took a lot of work, and I took a lot of work on myself. And now I'm at a stage where I am confident and I am able to give the fans the best experience for their money.
Yep, and you know you kind of proved that. But going back to the early days, so from going as a fan to watching the show, I did like how did it all come around of starting training to be a professional wrestler? Like when you first started training.
Again, it was very much I want to try that, so I got in touch, and I came over and I basically went up to the gym and tried my first session there. And from the second I walked in, you can tell there's a camaraderie, and it's a locker room that you want to be part of. So from that instance, like, not just being a fan, just walking in to want to try it, or to want to do what these people do, and yeah, the camaraderie and the atmosphere is there, and you're made to feel welcome when you walk in that gym. That's the most incredible thing about it. But that's drilled into you from the start.
Yeah, and then when you mentioned they're feeling welcome, who were the first people to kind of talk to when you started training? Who were the first people that you got close up to?
Probably would have been Stevie Fee, John McCann, and funnily enough, Samson Law.
And so going started training in NIPW in your very first training session. What was that like? What was the kind of trade? I know you mentioned there like it was quite a good environment, but with the training session, how did you feel at the start of it? What was the cardio like?
It's a definite body shock, because it's a large leap to go from I reckon I could do that to, oh wait, this is a lot harder than it looks, and then you don't realize it just by getting better at wrestling, you become fitter, because you know yourself inside that ring, like 5 minutes can feel like 5 years, especially if you're not conditioned. So yeah, the cardio was it was intense to start with, but never to the point that I felt like I was going to drop out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Even when people take that kind of speaks volumes, because some people say like when you take that first bump, that kind of decides, are you going to do this or are you going to check it out pretty much? So you kind of said that when you're in the cardio, you know, you felt like it was a lot, but you weren't going to give up. So I had that first bump feel. What was in your head?
I don't care what anyone says. Bumps suck, and the first sort of proper bump I took, I think it was a shoulder tackle, and I didn't I just sort of landed and I just went, oh. But then you sort of give it a second, you go, can we go again? Do you know what I mean? You're like, yes, that sucked, but I want to do it again. Maybe off bigger things. So, yeah. So, it sucks, but it's one of those things you live for. It makes you know you're alive.
Yep. And do you feel like the bumps now, you kind of got used to it, and you like want to do bumps more? Do you still not like feeling the bumps?
I mean, I don't mind some bumps. I mean, I'd rather not have to eat the entire canvas on a moonsault. I'd rather somebody was there for that. I wouldn't like to do that bump again. That
Oh yeah.
sucked.
So you went from having your very first week going there, and what do you think made you come back, and why did you not maybe go to another place, and why in NIPW didn't make you come back?
It's not even a case of why did I come back. There was never a question as to whether I was coming back. It's one of those things. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Mm.
So yes, you're going to hurt a little. Yes, it's going to suck. Bumps aren't pleasant, but to quote Kevin Nash, this ain't ballet.
Yeah,
And why NIPW is because, as you've already stated, it is the premier flagship promotion for Northern Ireland. That's just a fact. And the facts and figures stand alone. Do you know what I mean? People want to see what NIPW are doing. People want to see the talent that are coming out. I mean, it wasn't just myself that debuted tonight. Do you know what I mean? There was three other fantastic debutants, including Keith Crow, who ended up winning the gauntlet. Do you know what I mean? There's a bright future for NIPW, as the whole audience clearly seen tonight from everyone that debuted, myself, Adam, Tom, and Keith. So yeah, it was never a choice. There's only one place to go.
absolutely, especially for young wrestlers coming through. You know, a lot of places wouldn't take
Yes.
anyone under 16, but when you look at the kids training that they do, you've seen them kind of matches. And even on the show before, you've seen the kind of matches that they're putting on, like with Finn and NJN and We Show, and
Yes.
so many great talents. Even when John and Ricky started, they are now, in my opinion, some of the best wrestlers in Northern Irish wrestling. You know,
But
and they wouldn't be at this part, like this moment and at this time, if they didn't start at such a young age. And that's probably why NIPW is one of the best places to train, because there's the evidence is there of the people who they are training.
yeah, 100%. And the good thing is when the coaches, you're never made to feel stupid. Things like sometimes you'll have to get things dumbed down to you, and other people's won't. And that's one of the hardest things to learn, especially when you first get into training. Is right, okay, they're correcting me, but they're not correcting me out of like a place of nastiness. It's just, brother, if you don't do that right, you're going to hurt yourself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like the knowledge that you get from NIPW. I mean, look at the stars that it's already created that are now lighting it up all over the island. Do you know what I mean? The proof's in the pudding, and I think I'd be daft if I went anywhere else.
Oh, absolutely.
And as for the kids classes, sorry.
No, go ahead. It's okay.
No, as for the kids classes, like you said, yes, I've watched all of them come and flourish and like do well. Like even yourself, I've watched your wrestling grow, and with Ricky and John, I remember them that first match for the NXG Junior Heavyweight Championship at Malone. That again, that speaks for itself. These are moments that were created by NIPW. Do you know what I mean? NXG, NIPW, it's all under the same banner. These are moments that are created there. And it is fantastic to see young people coming through like that because, like you said, John and Ricky are two of the best on the island just now. And within a couple of years, they'll be in the WWE.
Absolutely.
That's a fact.
Yep. And even
So yeah,
when you look now at like kind of the wrestlers that are coming through in NIPW, it's amazing, and you've debuted, everybody else has debuted, so it's just incredible. But I'm gonna get some of our comments here. Um, Joseph Joseph Johnson says
sweet.
hello.
Hi.
Then then we have Carrick Pool asks what is the difference in lucha style and, let's say, Irish grappling?
Um, See, Irish grappling and lucha is very similar in the technical style, but lucha has um, the added threat of aerial assault. Does that make sense? So instead of just being a technical wrestler, it's being a technical wrestler, but being able to. I mean, I don't know many people that can do what I did tonight. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yep.
like that's where the difference is. Do you know what I mean? It's technical wrestling, but in a different sense. But it's a good question, really good question.
Yeah, and do you not think that you're kind of bringing all that? You're bringing technical wrestling, high flying wrestling, and Raw.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So instead of just being a grappler, like I would say that lucha is more than like grappling. Do you know what I mean? Like it's grappling, but it's also intensity, speed, and aerial maneuvers as well, and just being able to get the crowd to go, I want to see more of that. So
And
yeah,
Rennie Molly asks, is there Flying Scotsman merch?
not yet. It's something that I'm looking into. I'm waiting until I gain sort of more of a following on Instagram, because then I'll know that there's a market for Flying Scotsman merch. But if there's an interest, then there'll be stuff made. I am looking into stuff. But yeah, thank you. That was a great question.
And Darren Whiteside says, I don't does the show, and the Flying Scotsman was brilliant. That high flying moonsault was epic.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that, and it's called Haggis, Neeps, and Moonsaults. You heard it here first. That's the name for it, and for the walk across the top rope, that's also called the tartan tightrope. So you heard it here first.
Awesome. So you put on an absolutely incredible performance today against Halfdan. You you went in there with a former NXG junior heavyweight champion. If there was, do I have anyone else that would maybe want to wrestle more? Is there someone who the Flying Scotsman wants to challenge?
Honestly, I want to challenge anyone and everyone, but if you're gonna accept the challenge, just make it worth my time. I have come to this island to shoot haggis, neeps, and moonsaults, so it's hot and fresh for whoever wants it.
Absolutely. And when you went in there, I think that this character is really unique because you being from Scotland, when you see like Drew McIntyre or more Scottish wrestlers, they're either like strong wrestlers or technical wrestlers. You don't normally see a kind of luchador Scottish person, so it's quite a like unique character. So how did you actually come up with this character?
Um, it's just Scotland and lucha. Like I love lucha wrestling. The style intrigues me. It's always intrigued me. And then they do a lot of cool stuff where I look at it and I go, I could probably do that. And then I try it and I can do it, and I'm like, yeah, no, that this is my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is the lucha style. Um, so yeah, that's why I went for it. Like, I was initially, I did think about wanting to do like a strong style character, but they're a dime a dozen. You've seen 1,000 Scottish strong style like characters, but like you said, many Highland luchadors. Do you know?
Exactly.
It's best to
And
stand out.
yeah, and is there any? When you go in there and have matches, is there anything like you would have changed going into this match against Halfdan? Or do you have a different strategy?
Um, I probably would have kicked him a wee bit more, like while he was down, just to make sure that he stayed down for the haggis, neeps, and moonsaults. But apart from that, no, I'm quite happy with what I did, and I went out and gave it everything I had. So yeah, 2 seconds. I'm just having a wee celebration.
So TZS
But yeah,
videos,
no, there's not a thing I would change.
awesome. So TZS videos asks, is there a Loch Ness monster?
Aye. But you have to go to Loch Ness to see it. Seeing is believing.
Are you a believer in the Loch Ness?
Aye. Because I know that there's a giant plastic one that lives in the hotel across from the actual loch. So yeah, I believe it's there.
And Wrestling Insider asks, Scotland is he says Scotland is a great wee country. What are you most proud of for being Scottish?
All of it, to be honest. Like there's no one like us. But it's the same with the Northern Irish. There's no one like you either. But for me, it's the hills, man. Like there's some beautiful scenery in Northern Ireland. There's some beautiful scenery on this island as a whole. But I'm like from where I'm from, the Highlands. I was spoilt as a kid. As a wee lucha, I was spoilt with the scenery that I got because everywhere else is boring to me. That's what makes me proud when people turn around and go, "I know Scotland's class." Aye, you're right. Scotland is class, and it makes me proud to hear people say that.
Yep, and being from there, how does it feel to kind of represent Scotland in Northern Ireland?
Honestly, incredible. But let's be serious. We're all Celts. Do you know what I mean? So I knew I would fit in here anyway. But I love Northern Ireland. The people here are fantastic. And that crowd tonight, wow.
Mm.
They were ready for some wrestling and they got some show. And yeah, we can be proud. And I can be proud because I think I did Scotland well tonight. Even though I came up short, I think I gave a lot of people enough to go, I want to see more of that.
Absolutely, you did. Even seeing you do some high flying wrestling, I don't think a lot of people expected that. Like when you came out, you got a pretty good pop, but I don't think a lot of people expected to see some of the stuff that they saw. So yeah, you done Scotland on yourself proud.
Thank you very much. That actually means the world to me, wee man. Thank you.
And Manny Molly asks, what does a Scotsman wear under his kilt?
This is a family show, so yeah, you'll have to wait until I'm wearing a kilt. But normally nothing.
And so we've seen your debut here, an absolutely incredible debut for your very first match, especially against someone like Halfdan. And we've seen what you've been able to do with moonsaults and that sunset flip thing that you called it. Then you've been able to do a lot of different moves, but going going in there, is there anyone else or is there anything else? What's next for the Highland for the Flying Scotsman?
The Grand Social. That's what's next for everybody on the NIPW roster. That's what we're gearing towards. That's what we're working towards. That's what we're grafting towards. Hopefully, I'll get a Rumble slot. Who knows? You'll have to buy a ticket to find out. But yeah, just more matches, W's under my belt, and just more roasting hot portions of haggis, neeps, and moonsaults. That's about it.
And so, like, when you go in there and watch a lot of the other Scottish wrestlers like Drew McIntyre and a lot of the ICW stuff, what do you think makes you different than these other guys?
My goal every time I step out past that curtain is to give you something that you have never seen before. Is to do moves to add to my repertoire to show people just what I'm capable of. And tonight, tonight you saw a snippet, a highlight reel. Let's call it that, a highlight reel. Wait until you see an actual match with the Flying Scotsman. I promise you, like you said, nobody's seen that moonsault coming. There's so many moves that I have going on in my head where I'm like, I know for a fact I can do that. So, like I said before, the only way to find out how I'm going to do that, how I'm going to get better, is either A, go on my socials, the Flying Scotsman 25, and buy a ticket to an NIPW show. Trust me, don't just buy it to come and see me. Those cards are stacked. I'm sure you can tell them yourself, Keaton. Those cards are always stacked top to bottom, just with guys that want to go out and give you the best. And that's what I promise. I will give you something different every time.
Absolutely. Like even sorry, even when going to the show, you said there you wanted to wrestle on the grand in the Grand Social. Again, even to see the Highland Revolution or any other wrestler on the show, like the Banger Beauty, Ben Nelson wrestling in his hometown. You'll see Joe, you'll see Sage Valentine, and international stars like Andy Roberts. It's an absolute stacked show, and even and if you want to see Highland Revolution in action and any other shows, make sure to get your tickets at nipw.somstore.com. This is Northern Ireland's premier promotion, and I would not miss this.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss that. That show is going to be absolute fire. And I'm hoping I will be there. But we shall see. Like I said, I'm just going to keep working, keep training, and keep coming up with new things. Just to make people go, I want to see more of him. I want to see more of the Flying Scotsman.
Absolutely. I know for sure that I want to see more of the Flying Scotsman, and I'm sure everyone else there wanted to see more because wrestling's a variety show. If you just see if someone likes hardcore wrestling, but someone else doesn't, if they're in the crowd, you don't want to see all hardcore matches. But again, on that show, we saw some technical wrestling with John McCann. We saw hardcore matches with Malice and Sage Valentine, and then we saw a lot of lucha stuff with you. So wrestling's absolutely a variety show, and I'm sure people will want to see you and a lot of the other guys to show different styles of wrestling and to show what NIPW is capable of and what NIPW can show in different styles.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you said, tonight we gave you a bit of everything, but that's what NIPW does. Do you know what I mean? It's a reason why they are the premier brand, because you do get a complete variety, because you have an entire card's worth of people that will work with each other and highlight each other's good qualities. Do you know what I mean? So that when it comes to being able to show off that one thing that you're good at, you're already primed, because the whole locker room, the whole crowd, everyone is behind you. It's honestly, if I could bottle up the feeling that I felt just performing, like when I went up to go for that moonsault, I'd be a happy man if I could bottle that.
I know exactly what you mean. When I done my debut match against the Globetrotter Ricky Henry for the NWF World Championship, going behind there, to kind of describe that, it's an indescribable feeling. And then getting in there and being able to achieve something that you've been wanting to achieve for so long, it's a dream come true. Like,
oh, absolutely. So you have to understand, the Flying Scotsman went from a dream to an idea to a plan to what you've seen tonight. Do you know what I mean? So like you said, putting all that training in, putting all that planning in, putting everything, and then finally coming together, and then it all paying off. There is no better feeling than that. And yes, it would have been made slightly sweeter had I got the victory over Halfdan, but it's Halfdan. So, do you know what I mean? It's my first match. I'm not going to take it. It's not like I'm going to go, oh, well, I didn't win, so I don't want to do this anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just made me want to get back out in front of that crowd again. It's made me want to hear the sound of Beluga Lagoon coming from the speakers again, and just that battle march as I go through. Like, if I could bottle that feeling, I'd be able to live off it for life.
And speaking of that, like when you mentioned, or planning stuff, like going a bit behind the curtain here, when you talk about planning for that exact moment, being the Flying Scotsman, how do you plan matches? What's the kind of psychology and storylines behind these matches being planned?
So, I was meaning the planning of putting the whole thing together. And the planning for going into a match with this is, right, okay, thinking completely differently from how I would normally think. I'm becoming the Highland Scotsman. What would he do? What would I do? This guy, not the guy without the mask. Nobody cares about that guy. This guy, what would I do? And that's how I get through matches. That's how I piece it together. And sometimes, even like in the match, it's a case of, right, as you've seen today, every time I tried to lock up with Halfdan, he always got the better of me. So when he put his hand up for his for me to take it for a test of strength, I was like, bet I've got you because I know exactly how I can get out of this. Do you know what I mean? Little moments like that are all like, it's hard to put into words. Like you can't really prepare because every match differs. There will always be a funny thrown in as well. Do you know what I mean? Like something might happen where you're like, right, okay, that's different. I need to do this. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's yeah. No. Um, you can't. It's hard. Like I kind of got lost in my own words there. You can't really. Like I find it hard to describe how I prepare for something because like I'm pure ADHD. So I you ask me to describe how to do something, I will like stumble on my words. Whereas I can tell you what I would do if I was in that situation again, or what I would do if I was in a situation against somebody else. I can't really say how I would prepare because I prepare for everything differently.
Yeah. And
Sorry, I'm veered off topic there. I apologize.
no problem. But yeah, preparing for stuff. It can be a bit confusing in wrestling, but as long as you know the kind of concept of the story that you're doing, and that can be hard, I suppose. For such a different and unique character. Wrestling.
Yeah, 100%. Like, sorry to cut in there, but like, it's the beauty of it is being able to get like completely immersed in a completely different character and be something else, something better than like day to day, like Joe Blogs. Do you know what I mean? Something different, something unique, something that people go, I've never seen that before. Do you know what I mean? That's like what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm hoping for. Like I'm hoping that people will see me like unique ring gear, unique mask, speaks madly, and yeah, see that and go, I want to see more of it, and then keep like following and watching my journey and watching me grow because this is just the start. Do you know what I mean? Like literally just the start. It's only going to get bigger and better and probably more mental from here.
And you know, like you've done absolutely incredible. In that debut match, and so yeah, things will get harder for you. I don't know if it can get much harder than half done, but things probably will get harder in different stipulations of matches. But Wrestling Insider asks, Kid of Rock, Flying Scotsman, how do you come up with your characters and why are they important? Do you want to go first?
I'll let you feel this one first.
No problem. So for me, I kind of just turned my character up to 1,000. I've always loved rock music. I've kind of grew up with the band Queen, Freddie Mercury, and I've loved Linkin Park and bands like that. But my favorite band were definitely Queen, and I kind of thought I've grown up with wrestling and rock music, and I thought to myself, why do I not just I was trying to call myself the lightning bolt and different characters like this, but I thought to myself, why do you not just be who you are? So I call myself the Kid of Rock, Keaton Whiteside, because I kind of added in my love for wrestling and rock together and created this character with the Kid of Rock, Keaton Whiteside. And now when I come out to rock songs, Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle, I'm just myself when I come in into the ring. Um, so that's how I kind of came up with my character, and the reason it's so important is, if you watch, if someone comes out and they do a couple, like you said, they're like a couple of moonsaults, like you did on that show. I don't think people would enjoy that as much if they didn't realize that you were this luchador doing action. But if they find out that they'll like your character more than what you're doing in the ring. So if you come out and they love who you are, and then you do a good move, that matters more than just going out and doing a random move and going back in again. So I think your character matters a lot, because the fans will want to love who you are, and then they'll start liking the action that you're doing. So that's what I think anyway.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. And the Flying Scotsman came very much came out of just a random conversation with the head coach of NIPW, and I'm I've always been most comfortable in wrestling training when we're doing something that is a little bit more high risk, when we're doing top rope moves or when we're doing suicide dives or stuff like that. That is all well within my wheelhouse, and it's all stuff that I'm, as you've seen tonight, really really good at. Like I'm more comfortable on the top rope than I am in the middle of the ring, and that's why it was like a natural progression with me being already Scottish as it is and loving the high flying sort of like lucha style. Well, why not mix the two? Do you know what I mean? I don't know any other Highland luchadors that spell luchador with two O's. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm the only one that does that. And yeah. And then the reason the character is important is, again, like I said, it's almost like now allows me to step into a new set of skin. Does that make sense? And become somebody else, something bigger. Step out through those curtains, and as you've seen tonight, I got the crowd on my side straight away. Do you know what I mean? And that's all stemmed from the character. That's because of the promos. That's because like people have been waiting to see this character. Do you know what I mean? And then for it to actually come out and live up to the hype, yeah, it's very very important to have the right character and know who your character is. That's
Absolutely,
the
like
most, yeah,
absolutely. Like even when you look at some of the other wrestlers, when there's no story involved in their matches, they can do a couple of incredible moves, but again, it's not going to last if there's no story involved in it.
yeah,
Um, so I do agree with what you're saying, and with with you with you being the Flying Scotsman, and you just facing off against Halfdan here. This is a very good question that Dora Whiteside asks. How does Halfdan spear swing?
I don't know. He didn't spare me. He headbutted me. That was the cheekiest thing of all, by the way. I'm just going to go on record and say that was the cheekiest thing of all. Right? He's meant to be a Viking. I'm Scottish. I'm supposed to headbutt people, not him. So I'm a wee bit raging about that. Just put that on record, Keaton.
Well, seeing that you're a luchador and you do high flying wrestling, could we see some maybe more hard hitting style like Glasgow kisses from the Flying Scotsman?
Now that would be telling, wouldn't it? But no, obviously today was very much about I'm gonna try and move and do stuff to try and confuse him because, like, yeah, that's all today was. But yeah, in the future, you will see a lot more striking, a lot more of my technical ability shining through. I didn't really get the opportunity for that because it was a very frantic sort of tussle between myself and Halfdan. So yeah, there's definitely more to come.
And you can tell you know a lot of different styles and stuff. So when you go to seminars, has some of these wrestlers and Nathan also, like your coaches and a lot of the wrestlers that come over, impacted your style and impacted your career?
Well, I couldn't name one specific because I've been to a few seminars now, and every single one of them offers a different insight. And the fact of the matter is that the people that are doing these seminars, like a highlight for myself, I will name one. One of the highlights for myself was doing with LJ Cleary. As you can imagine, for my style of wrestling, to sort of work with like anyone that's been near Japan or anywhere like that, that's something I obviously want to do. Do you know what I mean? So to learn from him and just to go through spots from him, but then get critiqued on the spots that you go through. So he'll pull you aside and go, "Oh yeah, you could have done that. You could have done this." Do you know what I mean? I find that's invaluable because you'll get somebody that's been in the business for like 12, 13 years and they have so much, like a wealth of knowledge to give. But it's not just from the seminars, and I'm sure you'll find this yourself. It's when some of the bigger stars come over and do some of the NIPW shows, just sharing a locker room with those guys and learning from them and talking to them about their experiences, that's invaluable in and of itself. Do you know what I mean? Because they offer you little tidbits to go, have you thought about trying it this way? Do you know what I mean? That's one thing that I love, and I find myself very fortunate to be so short into my pro wrestling career and to have learned off as many like high caliber coaches as I have. Yeah, like I find that even if you don't get on with like all wrestlers, every wrestler will have at least one piece of advice that you'll find useful.
What do you think's been the best piece of advice you've got from all these different wrestlers?
The best advice that I've been given, and I get given it on a regular basis, is to slow down, to take a moment. Because sometimes, especially in training, I try to jog before I run, and then I end up rushing something, and then it looks silly. And the good thing is it is very much a place where iron sharpens iron. So like instead of like being berated, it will be a case of, right, okay, what did you just try to do there? Let's break it down and tell you what you were meant to do. Do you know what I mean? I find that slow down is probably the best bit of advice that I've ever had, because you can do a move, or you can do a set of moves and you can do it really quickly and then it'll mean nothing, or you can do it like at not a slow pace but a slower pace and make it look crisp, and then it'll look better than it would if you sped it up and then just didn't do anything with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. That's something I've always been quite getting now, but for a while I was quite confused with this. Like, why I used to always think to myself, like, why should you slow down? Why not, keep giving more to the audience? But I kind of understand it now. But even in my first match with the Globetrotter Ricky Henry, when we had our first match, I feel like I didn't do much of that. I think it was quite a good match. It just Ricky was the one slowing down a bit more, and I was just going into move after move after move. And then in my second match against the Wee Show, I think we got to slow down and create a lot more story and build up with it. But yeah, slowing down is a big thing in wrestling, and you don't realize it, but it impacts on the audience way more as well.
100%, and it's something like, because people, like you said, people will say to you slow down, and you'll think to the back of your head, like, But why? Am I not meant to do it quickly? Especially like with my style of wrestling. But and I can tell you this for a fact. See, if you rush and you don't if you don't slow it down and don't think about what you're doing before you do any sort of like top rope maneuver, it's gonna go south. And trust me, I've seen a few go south. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much all I can say.
Yeah, slowing down is a big thing, but also what's been the hardest thing to perfect in wrestling? You know, with your long time of going there.
Um, Honestly, lanes, staying in my lane. Um, and you'll understand that from training and from your own matches. Like the lanes confused me for ages, and it took me a good while to actually understand what they actually like what it actually meant, and how you if you deviate from it, or if you deviate out of your lane, it can just throw an entire match off. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was the toughest thing for me to learn, and it took me, I'd say, easily the best part of a year to learn.
Yeah, it does take a while. Even I find lanes quite confusing as well. I've kind of got the grasp of it now, but I find lanes quite confusing. And so now that that you're a bit more established in the independent circuit on around Northern Ireland, if you got the opportunity, would you wrestle for other places, other promotions?
Yeah, absolutely, but I probably wouldn't wrestle anywhere outside of NIPW until I've had an NIPW singles match. I think that way I can turn around and say yes. In fact, no, I'm not wrestling outside of NIPW until I've got a W in NIPW, because there is no point in coming somewhere to put all the effort in to leave on a loss. I'm not leaving unless I win. It's as simple as that. And not even leaving. Then I'll maybe look out. Like once I've got a couple of matches under my belt, I can look at, right. Maybe I could go wrestle in one of the other companies that are in Belfast or all over Northern Ireland. Do you know what I mean? But at this precise moment, I am a card carrying, flag waving NIPW wrestler, and that's the way that I intend it to stay.
And is there any places that you've been seeing that you might want to wrestle in down the line in the future after you get the W?
Uh, Honestly, the main places I want to wrestle, NIPW here. That's where I want to wrestle, and then I want to wrestle for ICW. Obviously, um, or any of the promotions within Scotland. Um, and then I actually want to try wrestling in Mexico. Because that's I'm only going to become a better luchador by immersing myself in luchador culture, but that's a long way down the line. This precise moment, I'm just focusing one match at a time, and yeah, just giving everything I've got for those fans that come and pay their hard-earned money to come and see us.
Yep. As you mentioned there, like you want to get the win first and stuff like that. But down the line, I would love to see the Highland Revolution going up there, maybe against some incredible luchadors on AAA, and even over in Scotland, seeing you on ICW.
Yes.
The sky's the limit, I suppose, and the ICW. I don't know if it's maybe their main style, but definitely there is quite a lot of hardcore wrestling in ICW in different places. Would you be what would you be willing to do any sort of matches?
Oh, 100%. My mentality is like I will try absolutely any match type once. And I want to try every single one of them. And yes, I know that some of them are going to suck, they're going to hurt, and I'm going to be in pain for a couple of days afterwards, but it's about the glory. Do you know what I mean? It's about going out there, two warriors, go out, put everything that they have got, test their metal against each other, and only one wins. There's nothing. It's just that's That's all I want. I just want combat. I just want to be able to fight. I want to be able to fight my way through the roster, and then hopefully one day in NIPW, I want to lift the title. And then, yeah, NIPW, and then NIPW, then ICW, then the world. That's the full plan.
And what countries would you enjoy wrestling in, apart from Northern Ireland and Scotland?
Mexico, definitely. I'm big on different cultures, and within wrestling, I think the main cultures to experience is obviously the UK scene. Then you've got the European scene in and of itself. But Mexico, Japan, and yeah, probably the US. But mainly Mexico and Japan. They're the two that excite me because it's two totally different styles of wrestling, but two fan bases that just get wrestling in a different way. They just understand it differently. They look at it differently. Do you know what I mean? And to be able to immerse yourself in that culture as a professional wrestler, I don't think there's any bigger honor than that.
Absolutely. Like even going to Japan, that's quite a big deal. You know, LJ Cleary getting there. I honestly believe he's one of the best wrestlers in Europe.
Yeah.
There's so many great wrestlers that wrestle in Japan, and you definitely have that kind of potential to go to Japan. But right now, obviously, as you said, there you're wrestling in NIPW. So, is there any wrestlers? Is there any dream matches that you would have for someone that would maybe come over to NIPW that you would think to yourself, "Oh, I want to wrestle this person"?
Oh, an all-time like
Anyone?
Dream match. Honestly, just for the pure style clash, Pac. Like Adrian Neville, Pac. That's just I've always been a fan, and I think he's so underrated. Like I genuinely do believe he's underrated. I've always been a massive Pac fan, and I would love to have a match with that man. That's him or probably AJ Styles. Him or AJ Styles.
Yeah, that would be two different styles mixing there. So as we're kind of coming to the end here, I want to ask you, what's next for the the Flying Scotsman?
Next, like I said, just more matches. Get W's under my belt, and then get a belt round my waist. That's what's next for the Flying Scotsman. The immediate future, hopefully, I'll see you all at the Grand Social. But yeah, long term, I want gold. That's what I want.
And what advice would you give to young trainee wrestlers starting out in wrestling?
The same advice that I say is the best advice that I've been given. Just slow down, relax. Don't go into your own head too much. It's very easy, especially, and it's what I say to boys before they go through the curtain. Don't be in your head, because it's all right to go there and be there for a minute, but don't stay there, because if you stay in your head, you won't think about the match and you'll forget something. So, yeah, don't get in your own head and just keep it simple. He says after he pulled the moonsault off.
So, as we've seen here, you have a very bright future as the Flying Scotsman. You've just went in there with former NXT Junior Heavyweight Champion and now who's turned international wrestling star Halfdan. And you put on very good performance. But I want to thank you very much for coming on. But seeing it's St. Andrew's Day, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to see how much you actually know about Scottish, about Scotland.
Right. Okay.
So, question one: what is the national animal of Scotland? A, the
That's a
lion.
unicorn.
B, yep, the unicorn. That's
Mm.
so. You got the first question right. So, question two: in a kilt, what is the small leather pouch worn around the waist called?
Sporran.
A what?
A sporran.
Yep.
Or you would say sporn.
Good accent. Question three: what is the traditional Scottish drink often described as? Scotland's other drink besides whiskey.
I don't know, mate.
So I suppose that's the answer to the question. Then question four. The famous old Scottish wrestling style, where the goal is to throw your opponent to the ground from a waist grip, is called Scottish what?
You've got me there.
A, catch as catch can. B, back hold. Or C, grudge match.
Is it catch can? Yeah. A.
Well, that's incorrect. B is
Oh.
it's back hold.
Well, thank you very much for educating me on my history. What was it?
So it's back hold. So the waist grip out of that is called the Scottish back hold.
I did not know that. Well done, me man. Nice.
And question five: what full gimmick name did Drew McIntyre use in British Championship Wrestling (BCW) promotion before joining WWE?
Oh, it was Drew Galloway.
Yep.
Yeah, Drew Galloway, because he came back to ICW and he was Drew Galloway again.
And question six: what famous Scottish wrestler from the 1800s, known for winning over 2,000 matches, is sometimes called the world's first superstar?
Honestly, no idea.
A, William Wallace. B, Donald Denny. C, Andy Robin.
See, everything in my body wants to say, I hope nobody used William Wallace as a gimmick. I'm gonna go C. Was it what? Robin.
That's incorrect. It's B, Donald Dilly.
Oh, well, there we go. Check
So,
you out, man.
so that was pretty good. You know, you for St. Andrew's Day, you know, quite a lot of it's Scottish wrestling. You got 4 out of 6.
Yeah, I'll take that, especially because you were not expecting me to know that a unicorn is our national animal.
No, I didn't
I
expect
taught
that.
that. I taught that to Drew Onyx when he was over because he showed me the Commonwealth belt, and I went. You realise that you've got Scotland represented there with the unicorn, and then I told him. So yeah, mad that we drink iron brew and our national animal is made up.
It's a bit crazy. National animal. So I want to thank you very much for coming on. You know, the future's very bright for you. You've just went in there with half done and put on an absolutely incredible match. So I wish you all the best in your future career.
Thank you very much, Keaton, and it was a pleasure being on. And yes, thank you and your old man for being there today. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Take care, wee man.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And again, you can get your tickets for NIPW's next show, where you can see the Highland Revolution, possibly see the Highland Revolution in action. You can get your tickets for NIPW Grand Christmas at nipw.sumupstore.com. This is what the poster looks like for the show in the Grand Social and Bangor. But what an absolutely incredible show with Ian McInnes. We learned a lot of stuff about Scottish wrestling and even questioned him on his knowledge about Scotland. And he knew quite a lot of it, 4 out of 6. And he has a very bright future ahead. Just going in there with half done and putting on an absolutely incredible match. So that was a very good interview. And coming up next on Kayfabe with Keaton, we'll have none other. Let's see if we can get a graphic for it here. Oh, wrong thing. We'll have coming on none other than, I don't think we'll have a graphic for it, but we'll have coming on none other than Johnny Cash. This man is well known in the rest, not just the wrestling world, but also in the gaming world. This is going to be a very unique podcast where we'll learn about the differences between like being a gamer and wrestling. It's a kind of unique gimmick, just like the Flying Scotsman. It's a unique gimmick, blending in his wrestling gaming style as with his wrestling character. He's the current he holds a lot of wrestling belts as a wrestler, and is also the Nintendo World Champion in wrestling, and is featured in even in WWE 2K25. So it'll be a great conversation with him. Very different guest to be getting on, but also a very good wrestler. So make sure not to miss that one. This will be our first episode in November at 7 p.m. UK time. In December, sorry, at 7 p.m. UK time. So do not miss that one. But as for this show, it was very incredible show. I loved having on the Flying Scotsman. So hopefully we'll see you on the next one for Johnny Cash. Bye for now.